Unfortunately, the volume can't, well, the speakers can't mute on that. So we're always going to end up with that little bit of an echo of it.
How you doing, Justin?
Here now. I would just leave, as long as we're using the microphones, I would just leave my mic on.
Everybody's here now. We'll start with number 3, presentation by the Scotia Fire Department, the Scotia Police Department, 100-year anniversary plaque. Chiefs, we come up.
Smile. Good evening, everybody. This year is the Scotia Police 100th anniversary. The date was actually in March. There's supposed to be a celebration, and we've got going on, but because of COVID, that canceled. And we got told now hope that we have some kind of event to honor them, and it's just not going to happen this year. The Scotia Fire Department would feel remiss if we did not honor our brothers in blue and thank them for the great job that they do day in, day out, and for the camaraderie, friendship, and just the support they get for all of us. So if I can read this flash and present it to Chief Haley. In honor of 100 years of service in Nova Scotia, the Scotia Fire Department salutes the men and women of the Scotia Police Department. We thank you for the camaraderie shown and assistance given during times of need, and for your tireless dedication and commitment to the safety and security of our members and their families.
People there.
You didn't say anything about the fire department being here 50 years longer, right?
This is a picture now. We did have a nice celebration plan. Actually, we were gonna do something together. We're still gonna do it, so eventually. But thank you so much. We're honored. It's great to work with you guys, and we have a good partnership, and we're going to continue to serve this really well. Thank you, sir. We appreciate it.
Okay, item 4. I just wanted to recognize a couple of volunteers who have given good service to the village, just retired. Carl Yannick retired from the planning board he's on, I don't know, 15 or 20 years, something like that, a long time. He retired for health reasons. You see him, wish him well. The other one is Dinamire Silva, who moved and retired or stepped down from the zoning board, but he's been doing that for a while. We're proud of them both. So thanks, guys. Item number 5, privilege of the floor. Is there anyone who would like to be heard at privilege of the floor? We'll see if we can manage the technology of it. Sorry? Oh, okay. So if you can, I call your name, if you can come up to the podium and say your name and address for the record, we'll do that. Sue Green.
Hi, my name is Sue Green. I'm at 25 Washington Avenue. Been there 29 years. taxpayer, and I'm very disturbed to find out that we don't have adequate fire protection with lack of water pressure because we're on a dead-end street. So I've been there for 29 years. Of course, we didn't have a fire, so we didn't have this issue. But I think the whole street is very concerned that these houses, they're close together. They didn't have enough water to put the fire out as promptly as they could have at 33 Washington. And the houses, there was no water to be had if the other houses on either side caught fire. So it's a big, very big concern. And we'd like to find out what the town, the village knows about this, what can be done about it, and how quickly it's going to be done. Because our property, our lives, this is all, we want this taken care of quickly, not telling us, 5 years down the road. I understand there's money that we found or whatever, but something needs to be done. Apparently, an infrastructure problem for years. So this is something that should be addressed quickly and let us know. We want to know what's going to happen here. Something that's got to be done. We're pretty upset about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Sue. Linda Gibbons?
Mayor?
Well, my concern is the same as Sue's, except for I'm the person whose house is now gone. Because the fire wasn't put out quickly enough because of the water. I now have asbestos, I now have mold. I've been 6 weeks waiting for my insurance company. I can't live in my house, I'm homeless. And this is all because we didn't have enough water to put out a fire in the front of my attic. So something really needs to be done. Thank you.
Can I pause we're seeing like we're on the same theme. Chief, can you come up and talk to that, and maybe we can help some of those people who have yet to speak.
Good evening again. I'm Ken Almy, I'm the fire chief for the Village Scotia Fire Department. I was in command the night of the fire in Washington Avenue. Yes, there was low water pressure. Did it make a difference with the fire? Probably not. The reason why the fire was so hard to put out is because of all the materials and loading in the attic. There was a lot of stuff in that attic. The fire burned from the second floor wire up into the attic space. And it's an old building, a little construction. Just change the fire around it so you can get it put out. That fire travels and has the least resistance, and we tried everything possible. We had early roof failure, and I decided to pull the guys out and do an exterior attack. Now, whether that made a difference in the water, if the fire was burning and affected the house next door to it, yeah, absolutely. We had the aerial power going and the handler going at that point in time. We were able to stop the fire as fast as we could. That fire just got in under the handler going back to the retail. It just likes to hide under the sling roof, which kind of hampered our efforts a little bit. But we did everything possible, and the lack of water pressure really did not cause a delay in putting out the fire. It was because of the construction, the fire loading.
I like the difference. I don't believe the home there, so you know, where the fire was working, how it was working, and there was 60 plus firemen standing there eating snacks.
That's it. That's in your opinion. I have it on video. I'm not going to get into it. I'm not going to get it with you. I'm not going to get into my fire tactics. I'm sure you know what
I understand the firemen will take 2 tools for your job, you and water.
Can I finish my comments? Thank you. So, we do have contingency plans for additional water. Hitting up that hydrant up on Sunnyside. We do have mutual aid companies. We have 5-inch diameter hose, which we can use as a water line coming down to the fire scene. We have the dry hydrant there, which we haven't had to use yet. We got that on an income grant and stuff. We did not need that extra water at that point in time.
Everybody in the street, they say, everybody else,
We were all there too.
It was like a
That's the
year.
hose just goes.
yeah, they turn one hose on the tower, I turn the tower on, the hose to the ground.
Well, you probably understand why.
Yeah.
Because we know-
Because hydraulics and pressure, and those like, well, we have down here.
I'm not gonna get.
I'm not arguing with either, but
We got it,
we use the best,
we use the best usage of our water and our abilities to put the fire out, and we did. The house is still standing, you lost the roof, you lost the.
No, it's in there.
The house, we did everything, possible to save the interior contents and the structure of the house. Well, I think, well, you can differ all you
Well,
want.
you
It's a
made
free
it, you
country.
made it for what you had resources, that's what you did, but it was inadequate resources. And there was flat hoses down the street flat, why didn't somebody go into the water, the river? Why wasn't there?
Why
a
didn't somebody go to the
pumper?
river?
Why do we call from the aircraft there? Let's get realistic out there, all right? We used the tools that we had available to us. If we needed more water, we would have got more water. Well, that's all you got. I don't think it's a funny.
It's not,
I don't think
it's
it's
not.
well, obviously you think it is.
No,
I'm not gonna get into an argument. I've said my piece there, all right?
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Can I sign up to speak? I'm on Zoom. Can I sign up to speak?
I've been a fireman for 40 years. I was at the scene the whole time. My experience is the same as Kenneth's. We have a house exactly like that on Riverside Avenue. 208, I think, maybe it's 206, if you look at it. We had a fire there in 1983, and it burned the roof off, the same as your house. It has a new roof. It looks different than all the houses in the rest of the houses in the village because the roof isn't as steep. But the attic was completely full of bags of clothing, and we could not get the fire out. There was plenty of water on Riverside Avenue. It's not, the water is not a problem. So, you know, the fact that we saved that house, the fact that we saved your house, I think is amazing. What's happened since then, mold and water damage is nothing, obviously. I mean, if we had more water, there probably would have been more water damage, but that's something that's supposed to be taken care of by the insurance company immediately after the fire. If they didn't do that, it's not the fire department's fault.
But you understand what we're worried about. By the grace of God that night, there was no wind. Had there been wind that night,
And I can say, I brought to your attention.
Well, right, but we would have,
I mean, there was this house, you get the sparks from no wind.
in that case, we would have called for tankers from a country department.
Isn't
But it
it
wasn't necessary.
ordinary?
So, anyway, who's next? Tim Keegan? No, I'm sorry, Tim Keegan is next.
Basically, everything's already said.
Okay. Keegan, Tim?
I didn't sign up to speak, but I will say one thing, I'm never criticizing the fire department at all. I was there for hours watching, and I thought they did a great job. I'm only here to ask for, the chief mentioned, and you also mentioned, low water pressure in the hydrants. We'd like to see something done about it.
Okay.
If I could just make a recommendation for Village Law, we do have 2 trustees attending via Zoom. So if when your name is called, if you could please use the microphone and stand as close to the microphone as you can, so that the trustees who are attending this meeting virtually can hear your comments. They're very important for us to hear.
Add one thing, Chief Elmy was very, very nice to me that night. I mean, I was in a panic, it was my home, and he kept in touch with me most of the night. And I will give, and again, I'm not blaming the fire department per se, it's the water issue. That we're most of us right here that are really concerned.
Right, yeah.
Thank you.
If I can interject to answer this gentleman's, we are looking at increasing our mutual aid for that area at this point in time. We have tankers come in, which will bring 3,000, 4,000 gallons of water to us if needed for a response there. So, I mean, please haven't gone on deaf ears or anything like that. We know there's a problem.
Well, the other issue, Ken,
I'm addressing all your.
Go to the podium.
If I could just make a recommendation again, because there's some good conversation that our trustees do need to hear, if we can please use the microphone. I'm seeing on the indication on here that your comments are not being captured for the trustees, so if we can please use the microphone and have one person speak at a time so that we as the trustees can hear exactly what your concerns are, so that we can better serve you.
so the other half of the issue that Sue just addressed is that the village has been looking hard into the costs and how to make the line loop. That's the important thing, is to run the line from the edge of the lake there up to Sunnyside Road. We were told by our engineer that it's something in the area of $300,000. We were also told by the same engineer that it's very unlikely to get a grant or something like that. If it doesn't have, it needs to have, to be related to water supplies as well as water service. So, but in any event, that we understand that needs to be done. We have to see if we can, where we can find the money, and we know we have to do it. It will not be quick. The fire solution that Ken's talking about can be done in 5 minutes. So that if we have another problem, we'll deal with it sufficiently.
Why wasn't it done at night
So,
then? Is that easy?
sorry?
Why wasn't it done at night? It's that simple of a solution. I mean, we're gonna be in excess of $300,000 on our insurance claim. So that $300,000 could have been spent to fix the loop to save everything out. Instead,
Come up to the microphone. Yeah, thanks.
basically, we spent $300,000 on our insurance policy. What is gonna happen by the time we rebuild our house? We're gonna go through easily $300,000 by content and by the house rebuild. So that $300,000 you're talking about, how many times does that need to happen on a road? How many houses need to burn down?
So get insurance companies to send us
I
money.
understand.
Can't hear 'em.
Logistically, like speaking, like,
Can't hear 'em.
think about it, like, our and these be
Can't
either
hear 'em.
gutted or torn down. We're talking $300,000 is what our policy is gonna probably pay out. You're saying it's $300,000 to fix the problem. I mean, if another neighbor's house burns down, that's another $300,000. So now you're $600,000, $900,000. You know what I mean? Like, how many? How long do you want to wait before we actually do something to fix the problem?
Someone gets hurt.
Yeah, I mean, we were lucky enough that everybody was able to get out on time. I mean, thank God. But at one point, like, this is a priority. Like, doing sidewalks and doing other areas. I know you guys have a budget and everything that you guys are working on and everything, but this to me is a life and death thing. Like, we were lucky that everybody got out. What about the next time? If this has happened like 2 hours later, people would have been sleeping. And then it's like you're dealing with a whole nother ballgame. So at what point, I mean, to me, this is a serious issue. Like, everybody on that street, even further down, if you were to go further down Washington Avenue, closer to where the dead end is, I'm sure the water pressure doesn't get any better going further away. But yet here we were between Log River and Pounds Lake. We're in the middle of two gigantic bodies of water, and we had no water pressure to put the fire out on our house. And because of that, it burned to the extent that it did. And I understand that they're saying that they used the best tools to their advantage and they used what they could, and I get it. They were doing what they could with what they had, but what they had was not adequate because the water pressure was not there. So they would turn one hose on, the other one would turn off, and then it was just a ballgame. They were going back and forth. So that's my concern. I understand that they were doing the best they could. I get that. I'm not complaining about what the fire department did. And he even said they used the tools that they had to the best of their ability. And it's true, they did. but that's the problem. That's what we're concerned about. What they have available to them is not sufficient. And that's what we're worried about, because if another house burns down or two houses catch fire next to each other, we're absolutely out of luck. I mean, so what do you do then? They could barely put our fire out, and it was a small attic fire that turned into a gigantic mess. God forbid it was two houses where it was first floor fires, because fires burn up. We were lucky. It was on our third floor. Fires burn up. Yeah, we got a lot of water damage, everything else. I understand that's a separate issue. But if it was two houses that wind was blowing and they caught fire and everything went up, it would have been a mess. I mean, it would have been a disaster. So that's our concern, is that the water pressure has to be fixed.
But the water pressure was just not the issue. We talked about that, and addressed that specifically. The issue was the fire in the stuff in the attic, and we couldn't get at it.
Well, we have video of them not spraying any water on the house for the rest of 30 minutes.
I stood there for 30 minutes. There was no water being sprayed on the house. You don't, that was when we were still trying to spray it from the inside, and we were in there in the heat doing that. You don't spray water in from the outside when people are inside. It just puts the fire on top of them, and you can't do that. So they were working inside, and they couldn't get to it because it was buried in accumulation of the stuff that you couldn't have in the cellar because of the flood.
No, that's not true at all. They're really, it was an attic. We store stuff in our attic. That's what an attic is for. We're trying to get something completely different. That's not, an attic is, I mean, we store stuff up there. Nobody's living up there. We're not having parties up there. Like, we store stuff up there. That's what it's for.
Yeah.
We could walk back and forth before the fire, because obviously the fire hoses and everything made a complete mess of it. So if you walk up there now and look at it, you're like, this is a mess. But it wasn't like that. You literally, we had aisles, you could walk back and forth, we had stuff stored on both sides, clothes, packages, toys, like everything.
Right.
That's what it was
But
for.
the fire was in there, we were in there fighting it. I think we probably taken this far, Jim, let's let somebody else.
I'm not trying to argue, I'm just trying to bring up a point that, you know.
Tim Keegan?
No, you're.
That's you. I'm sorry. You got.
I'll
You got
repeat what I said. I think I signed up on the wrong page.
Okay,
It wasn't intended to be.
I'm sorry.
All I said earlier was, I don't think people came here to criticize the fire department. People came to talk about the problem with water pressure, to see if something could be done about that. That was the one issue I believe most of the people are here about.
Great. Okay.
That was all.
Eli Seeger?
Oh, me,
Is it?
it is I. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, and I'm concerned because the majority of those houses are old, the wood is old. And how long has it been known that the water pressure was not optimal? Is that something that's been known prior to this fire? Is it something that you need an outside source to come in and do an evaluation, which costs money for?
Yeah. I don't know the answer to that, but
Does anybody know?
oh, it's certainly quite a long time. Yeah, I mean, probably close to 100 years.
You've known for 100 years, water pressure wasn't good.
Well, when they put it in, they decided not to look at it. What do you know? That's what you get. So I don't know. But I'm being quick. I'm sorry. It's not a fun subject, but in any event, that we researched it maybe 5 years ago. And at that point, the engineer told us it was $200,000, and now he's telling us it's $3 million.
I have a question also. Now, the water source is plugged into the lake. Is that something that's usable? Or am I understanding from what's been said that it isn't, or do I just not?
We don't know yet. We're working on figuring that out. That would be a good solution from a fire point of view. Has nothing to do with, you can't mix it with drinking water or anything like that, but we have not actually tested that dry hydrant in a couple of years, and we have scheduled to do that.
Just put that on the test.
Well, it's been there for a couple of years, so it wasn't this year.
What is the dry hydrant? I don't.
It's just a pipe sticking out of the water source, and you have to suction water out of it to get it to work. It's dry right now. the hydrants, the regular hydrants have water that's available in them by water pressure.
And where is this dry hydrant located?
Down at the bottom,
At the bottom.
Yeah,
right to where the fire.
So anyway, we're-
From there all the way up, and not again.
so, okay,
Will there be a test on that?
yeah,
Not that it's gonna make any difference on the fire that we've already had, but all of us that live in that area are living in nice old homes.
within the next 2 weeks, we're gonna test.
Well, that's a good thing.
David Rosenberg?
Will there be information posted on that?
Should be, I mean, it's not something we usually talk about hard, but we can let you know. We don't have a mechanism for that, but I'd be happy to keep you in mind and tell you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, now, when I did Road the 35 hours from now, probably a month previous to this fire, I brought it to your attention that there was a problem with water. When they turn the hydrants on and it starts to water out of the house, there's a problem. And you told me it costs money to do it. There's money in the village to do pole barns that are only coming, to buy all new equipment for lawnmowers, loaders, blacktop machines, chippers. And at what point does that stop? And the bottom line is, I write it with a GPM meter. I work with water. I've done it for 30 years. You hook a gauge up to it, you turn on a hydrant, and it will tell you your gallon per minute. And on a 3-inch line, I can guarantee you it's not.
Justin, I can't hear him.
It's not to go.
So the other
Either.
equipment that we have is really not germane to the situation of the.
But it is, because the village taxpayer really that buys it.
No, well,
Water's not doing something in that shooting zone.
The
Well,
water-
you can reach out, you just got a $300,000 loader, and there's another one sitting there.
Can I explain something to you? The water line has got to come out of the water fund. It's a different fund completely than the general fund that does police car, fire trucks, everything else. So the water fund is something that where people are paying water bills right now. That would come out of that fund, we'd have to bond it into that fund and
Okay, I have a question for you. Now, because of the solar project that I went through, we were promised sidewalk. Well, here's a smart idea. You're gonna put sidewalk on the left side, well, you're digging the cut for sidewalk, why don't you put the water in there?
Yeah,
Because you're gonna save a tremendous amount of money. Because probably, to be totally honest with you, probably get $10,000, I can get the supplies to do that job. And I could probably have a plan.
I still can't hear him.
thank you.
Yeah, thank you, but I'm going, I'm sure if it was your house, if it was your neighborhood, it would be fixed. And again, like I said, when I brought it to your attention, it was kind of a joke. And then inevitably, a month later, that's what happened. And if we didn't show up, still nothing would happen.
So the rest?
Yes, my questions were answered.
Okay. I can't read your what I was saying. You said too? All right. Where do you want to watch it? Celine? Celine? Sorry.
Next one.
That's good.
Hi, I'm Celine. I live at 41 Washington. That's a pretty scary thing that happened. I was curious about the fire department. Do they have the like adequate hoses to reach from the pond if we were to use that source of water? Do we know?
From where?
From the pond.
Yeah.
So, okay, so, I don't know. And my other thing, I wanted to add to what, this woman said. She mentioned that she would like to hear that, when you get it done, and I think that'd be great.
I will, I'll take this list and go from there.
Thank you. Okay, that's all I have.
Laura Brown?
I'm Laura Brown, I've been at Service out in Washington now for 16 years. So I'm a little bit confused going here. We don't have water pressure, or we do, I'm not sure, I don't think we do have water pressure, but they're saying that that wouldn't have helped this particular fire. But, so my question is, are there different kinds of fires? So, you know, we're on a street, we're very close together, it's a very well treated street. And so if there's another type of fire, the water pressure is an issue if you don't have it, if it's gonna help with them to do their job.
I still can't hear.
This needs to be fixed. Thank you.
Well, I mean, we went into that already. We could bring it from Sunnyside Road, we could bring in tankers. So if it were needed, we could do that.
I'm also concerned that really, next time, hopefully nobody dies, I mean.
We hope it's not next time.
Yeah.
Who Washington, I can't read the name, Peggy, is that?
Please speak into the mic.
I'm Peggy Burnett, and I live at 31 Washington, and I live right next door to Linda. And I also have a slate group. And the people that live next to me, Julie, they have a slate group. It's like, they're great, they're expensive, they, you know, you don't have to keep replacing it and replacing it. You know, I lived there for 40 years. I had no idea that there was a water pressure issue. And up on Sunnyside, do they end there? Do they have a problem on Sunnyside? Well, if it ended with us in front of Pam's house and started again on Sunnyside, do they have an issue? Do we need to contact them to find out if they have low water pressure?
No, because the Sunnyside one loops around to Washington Avenue going the other way. So it's already a loop.
Oh, all right, so it goes the other way. So it's just our street? Is it just our street in the whole village? Is just our street the one who has a dead end water
Yes.
issue?
Yeah.
We also normally have low water pressure in our house on a regular basis. Is that because of this?
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, it's like somebody's taking a shower, you don't wanna turn on the hot water, or, you know, they get cold and, you know, the water pressure goes down. So this, by fixing,
We will continue trying to fix that.
Okay. Right,
They
so,
don't pay our taxes, everybody in this room is our taxes are paid.
yeah, and we do pay the water and sewer.
I can't hear a word you're saying.
This fund is the water and sewer bills that we just paid. We pay twice a year for water and sewer, right?
Yeah.
So is the fund from the water and sewer tax?
That's what we would need to take this out of.
Or where does it come now?
Well, I mean, to pay for, the whole service. We have a number of people who work on repairing water mains, you know, all the things that go along with the water service, to pump it to you, to make sure fix the lines. It's and you know, it's not a small job because all the lines are old. And, you know, you see leaks every now and then, you fix them. So-
When you go up by the park, do they not have enough water? If something happened at the park, you've got the little pavilions and stuff at the park, would they not have enough water?
I don't know the answer to that. I mean, they'd be on the same line as you for sure.
Right, so how far do you go?
Why you keep laughing about it? It's not a joke.
No, nobody's taking it as a joke, Dave. So, Is that, I mean, I don't know what we can tell you, we're gonna work on it.
Okay, well, just tell me how far the problem goes. If it's just our little street, or does it go all the way up to the park?
No, I mean, so it's a line that comes down that way, so the pressure would be better.
I can't hear him.
And where's the dead end?
Okay.
So,
What's the dead end?
Mayor, I think Chief Elmy wants to clarify some of the questions.
The dead end? No, the dead end means the pipe is the dead end. Oh, wait, I didn't know what the dead end was.
Mayor,
Ken, why don't you say something here?
We're just wondering, when does it become a
Yeah.
priority to fix this? To take money from the funds that you say you could use the water funds, that's a priority, this is a priority. Instead of people losing their homes.
Does somebody need to die in order for this to like become a priority? I mean, would that make a difference right now? Like,
I think it would.
I mean,
But it should,
So
it should, or losing her house.
And you knew for
should be a
5 years,
priority.
you knew for 5 years.
let's keep going, are you set? Jimmy,
Okay.
you got more to say? Okay.
Yeah, I've always supported the fire department and the police department. It's nothing against any of you. It's just like, but it's scary. It's scary living right next to the fire. And you've got all the smoke and people and I have the smoke all next to my house, you know, and it could be through Dave's windows. It's scary. And
We have to have fire.
Can't hear you.
Now you live in my house next door, we have you. And so, are you telling me it's worse because I have a slate roof? It's like, this is upsetting me. This whole thing has been crazy because I would call the insurance company the next day and said, do I want a fire insurance? You know, to me, it was a big scary thing. You know, and I don't want to lose the house. We lived through the flood, you know, and he said,
Let's,
right, and then,
did you want to say something else?
Yeah.
okay, can I just say one thing and then I'll look at
You can say what you want.
They were saying that they could call in more pumpers and then run lines from Sunnyside down.
If we needed it.
Yeah, but then how much longer would that be? It's like the flames are coming and we're finally getting the water to shoot on it, you know, and then it dies. It's like,
But you see
how
that
much longer? It would have,
you're doing it from the outside. At that point, as I told you before, we were fighting the fire from the inside.
right, yeah, I don't know the protocol.
You don't spray hot water on the outside when people are in there fighting the fire. So
Okay, see, I don't know, I wasn't inside, I'm standing right next door.
I can't hear you. Somebody do something.
Pushed the horn 3 times and evacuated the house. Nobody was in the house. They were trying to fight it from the outside.
they were inside.
They were unable to.
I know exactly where they were. Thank you.
You're welcome, but like you know, it's a big concern for us and all my neighbors. It's like we're all in the same spot, you know, we have older homes, they're wood, you know, someone's got siding on them, but, you know? So, we are worried. And I want to know, remember that you were trying to build that sewage plant? Did that come out of the water and sewer money?
It would have.
Okay, but did it?
I mean, no, it wouldn't have, because it was a grant, it was 100% grant we were gonna get from the state.
Okay, I just wanted to know if the water and sewer money went into that.
Yeah, we'd be making money by now, but we are.
Right, I am so thankful it's not there, but I didn't know if our water and sewer money went into that project. So I just don't know.
No,
I
it
didn't
didn't.
know we're in the water and sewer.
Can anybody straighten the sound out?
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, thank you.
Thanks.
So I don't think they can hear you.
Yeah, they can hear me. I'm on.
Just real quick, we are part of the community too, just like you guys are, and, you know, nobody's isolating the Washington Avenue people. We've identified a problem, you guys brought it to the village board, the village board's gonna act on it. They're gonna look into things, and hopefully things will get better, okay? I'm not a member of the village board, I can't promise anything, but these guys will do their due diligence, as will the fire department. So I see two issues that come up today. One was the way the fire department did their job, or they did their job. I would like to invite select up there, you know, we're going down the firehouse, so we'll talk to the fire representatives. We'll go through why we did it, what we did at the fire. And because I think there's a lot of misunderstanding as to how fire operations are. And fire is its own dynamic enemy, it does its own thing and stuff. What our concerns, my concerns were, and the whole litany of what happened, what's the education. So I welcome that interchange between the residents here and our department. So we'll set that up. The second thing obviously is the lack of water. Like I said, we have been looking into it. I do have contingency and make sure that contingencies in the future. Most of that based on the fire. You said we had that water connection. You know, as I remember, I was part of the you know. So we will do our best to try to solve this and work together. I not that I need to justify, but I justify to you. Didn't feel it was necessary. Very extra stuff. I'm using the best. That's what we have, and that's really all we needed at that time. If young lady house caught fire, well, then we would have more resources there, more hose lines.
Can't hear them. It's all on there.
You know, we are towards a solution, and I appreciate everybody's input and stuff like that. So you know, the mayor has your contact numbers and things like that. And we'll the information. What's that?
Can't hear them. The sound is terrible. Fix it.
Saying water. We may have a little bit more pressure if we get someone coming down from Long Island and stuff like that. Cleaning the park's the end. There's a fork in the end, you know? It doesn't go anywhere else.
Can't hear me. I can't hear them.
So obviously, the farther you get to the end of the line,
They're not interested in you anyways, because they're right there.
so that's what that is.
They're ignoring you.
Okay.
Thanks, Ken. Okay, next, Kevin Nicole.
I don't know if
Well, you're the last one on the list. We're going to close the privilege of the board.
yeah, that's what we do.
Mayor Gifford?
There's somebody on the call that wants to speak as well.
I didn't know. Could I?
I'm Kevin Nicole, I live at 502 Sanders Avenue, and we had the big storm that came through, and with the loss of power and everything. And I know that was a big circumstance, but what I noticed is down the lower end of Sanders Avenue, and back at Gabriel's, we get power outages all the time, like every month or two, and we're always losing power down there. I don't know what that power grid was. And I was wondering if about it. Go to Niagara Mohawk and what's with the power grid over there. It seems to be very weak. It seems to be always on a block where I live, and it's always over there, and then a block away is power. And is there a way that you can talk to Niagara Mohawk and see what's going on with the power? And it's also like they have phone sections, everything. So, And I know it's not a pressing matter, but it seems to be a constant thing, you know? Okay?
Okay, I doubt it, but I'll try.
Okay, yeah, but if it happens all the time, every month, that whole part block, you know?
Okay. So.
Mayor Gifford, is privilege of the floor still open?
Tamara.
What?
Tamara would like to speak.
Okay.
I don't know how we're gonna do this, but I'm gonna
Okay.
raise the volume here. I don't know how we're gonna do this with
Yeah,
microphones.
I don't know how either.
Okay, so.
Perhaps if we all lower our laptop volume and George, if you put your volume up, have it go through your mic. Yeah. Well, yeah.
So, Tamara,
Yeah, the sound. I don't know if you can make me out or not. Is it coming through?
Yeah.
yes.
Is it through? Okay, great.
Yes.
My name's Tamara D'Antoni. I'm at 29 Washington Avenue. I'm right next door to Peggy, who was next door to Linda's. And I also experienced that night. I wanted to be on the record. I'm sorry I couldn't be with you. I'm high risk, so I'm doing it via Zoom. I also wanted to say, I know people are talking about pressure, the water pressure, and I've lived in cities with low water pressure. That night, it seemed that pressure, it was supply. There wasn't enough water supply. And I also, when Dave commented that he didn't have water that day, I didn't either. And I called in and I was told that they were working on a hydrant and had to shut down the water. So that really concerned me. I do have, I believe, the oldest house on the street. So I'm very concerned. That next day after the fire, I found a partially melted bit of siding that had hit my house. So since all they had that night was one hose, if that had ignited the shingles, I've got the, tar shingles on the house, there would not have been, there were several trucks, but there would not have been enough water to wet down my roof. And I think that's what everyone is talking about, being very concerned that there's not another hose to spray down, not to spray the roof on Linda's. Yes, fight the fire. But if sparks fly to the other houses, because I've been on fire calls before and they shoot the water up so it's raining down on the surrounding houses so that it's not going to spread. And that would not have been an option that night. So I just wanted to be on record sharing my concerns as well. And how we, what we can do to get this fixed. If they have to run a hose down to the river, or I know, and I am Team Blue, Team First Responders, definitely. But we really need to know what the plan is so that we're set before, and hopefully we'll never need it, but before it is needed, we need to put it in place as soon as possible. If that's what we're going to do, and we're not going to tie into Sunnyside Ave. That's my 2 cents, I guess.
Thank you.
There's also Lynn Trudell who wants to speak as well.
Okay, good evening. I'm hoping that everybody can hear me. I have a couple of things I want to say that are totally off the topic of anything that's come up earlier this evening. Other than I believe the gentleman mentioned the National Grid power situation in the village a week or so ago. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay. I think that the village needs to have some kind of social media presence. It really does not. It's hit and miss. When I look at the Scotia the Scotia Facebook page and I see comments from Chris Ketzel from Glenville telling the residents about how many houses in Scotia and Glenville are still without power and how he's spoken to National Grid and when it's going to be fixed and stuff. I think that feeds into why people want consolidation, because all they hear from is him. They don't hear anything from the village. I finally did see a post, I think 2 days ago, but his was last Friday. I think that the trustees need to consider having a press relations officer, somebody, to do some kind of social media, because that is where a lot of the misinformation gets thrown around and gets batted around for days on end. And a press relations officer or a press release from the village trustees could stop that from happening and stop that from growing, so that misinformation was put down and the correct information was sent out. So that would be my suggestion for something for the trustees to consider. I'm also hoping that this evening there will be an update about the issue on the firehouse and police station. Haven't heard anything in months. The only thing I've heard is we're waiting, and here it is, November, basically. So I'm just hoping that sometime during this evening, we might be able to get an update on what the status is of that, whether we've gotten the recommendations from the community committee, and that sort of thing. So that was it. Okay, that's it. Thank you. Oh, Lynn Trudell Moore. I live on Glen Avenue.
Thank you, Lynn.
Thanks.
Okay, anybody else? Thank you, everybody.
I'd just like to take a minute, if any of you guys are going to leave, and I apologize, but listening to this, and I live on Bruce, and I was witness to my neighbor's house actually having to be torn down. And you know, water pressure was not a problem there, and fire was the problem there. It actually, and I saw it come down. And some of the problems that you guys are seeing or presuming happened, I really don't see. I implicitly trust the fire department. That's one of the reasons why I live in the village, is for the fire department. My middle son's a child with special needs. It's the school district. It's the bigger picture. When my youngest was less than 1 year old, Dan, our police chief, was on my porch in less than 3 minutes when he was turning blue in my arms. I implicitly trust this fire department and the service that they give us. When they say that they do the things that they did, there must have been people in the house at the time. You may not have seen it. They may have turned the water on, but they turned it right off because they didn't want to do it. I wasn't there.
I'm the next door neighbor.
I understand that. But I wasn't there either, and I wasn't in the house. But I know for a fact, if they needed water on that house from the outside, they would have put it on.
And I got video to prove that it did work.
Well, all I can say is that I feel that they were in the house at the time, because that's what they're telling me.
Well, we asked, why was the orange down?
So
Guys.
the moral of the story, and I'm sorry, I'll wrap this up right now. I feel for everybody, and this is one of the things that, you know, now I know about these things, so that's going to be part of our future discussions for sure. So
again, I just want to make it clear that I don't think anybody in here is
right.
critiquing the fire department in any way, shape, or form. They don't have the tools they need to do the job. So no matter what you do, unless that water problem is resolved, they're still not going to have the tools they need to do the job.
I would argue that they didn't feel they needed extra tools at that time.
I would argue
Guys,
So we're gonna
we've been through this
work on it. So
I'm sorry, Mayor. Can I say something real quick? I'll make it quick, but I just want to thank everyone here for coming and actually letting us know on this. You know, it's important for us as trustees and for us as public officials to hear from you on concerns of this. And one of the things, I was there that night. My friend's house is the one that is affected. And I hear you. I know the board hears you. I know the fire department hears you. And you know, there's certainly now contingency plans being put in place. And actually the work session after the fire, you know, I did bring up this issue regarding, you know, the dead end hydrant main system. It is going to take some time to figure out. It's going to take some planning, but know that you're heard, and that I know many of us up here are up here because we recognize that a priority needs to be public safety and infrastructure. And the infrastructure that is in place in the village is 104 years old. It was built, one of the reasons we have the village is for the infrastructure that we have. This was maybe, you could argue that this was a historical misstep about not connecting Washington Ave to Sunnyside. But know that the village will do all that we can to make sure that your homes are safe. Because I can tell you, when you see your neighbor's house go up, when you see your friend's house go up, when you see the memories and the things that are lost, it does change you. It changes your perspective. And know that your voices are heard here today, and that I know I'll be advocating, and I do trust that George and the mayor and the fire chief, as well as the other trustees, you know, will advocate, you know, to make sure that the contingency plans that are put in effect until we're able to fix the infrastructure issue will be suitable to protect your homes.
Thanks, Justin.
Could I ask if when things are resolved, can they go on the internet in the Scotia Glenville blurb that they have on there sometimes?
Are you referring to the Scotia Glenville Current Events Facebook page?
Sure, that sounds, not Facebook, I don't know.
Okay. Or are you talking about the website? We don't.
Yeah, website.
Okay.
Thanks.
Yeah, I mean, that will definitely be part of public record because there will be money being spent, so there will be a public hearing. Oh, no, it won't be, no, Facebook is not the place of public opinion, believe me. So.
Okay, so.
And if you've got an opinion that's not liked by whoever oversees it, you're removed.
Right.
Yeah. Well, that's why I appreciate you coming down here and talking with us.
Yeah, this is where we hear
Thank
you.
you, everybody, for coming. We will get back to you with what's being done, especially with the immediate fire department stuff.
Like a time frame as far as when you get
I
back?
told you within 2 weeks. We'll do it. I'll let you know within 2 weeks.
So do we come back here in 2 weeks to hear? Or?
No, I'll send you a letter.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you can come back next month if you're not satisfied. We'll have another meeting the second Wednesday. But we should have stuff to you before then. You know, we'll do what we can. So at this point,
I know contractors that do that, would love to do a job like that for 100 grand.
Thanks.
I mean, and they're bonded and secured and insured and every other thing. So where the 300,000 come from? I don't know any of that.
You clearly don't understand how a village has to work. There's laws that you have to do it just so. And it's free of protection too. So anyway, at this point, we're going to close privilege of the floor. We have the rest of our business to do. Anybody's welcome to stay. You're also welcome to walk out and nobody will be offended. So, item 6.
Can I say something real quick?
You're out of order.
Oh, I'm sorry. I grew up on Washington Ave, so don't worry, you won't be forgotten. Okay, number one. Number two, fire chief and the mayor and the board tell you something, they are gonna do it. I've worked with them now for a long time, and so I can tell you that they will address your concern. I promise. You know, they're not lying to you. They do a good job, and they won't let your concerns not be heard. I just want to let you know that.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you. Item number 6. We have a resolution amending certain terms of bond resolution dated June 14th, 2017. relating to the undertaking of improvements to the wastewater system in the village of Scotia.
I'd like to make a motion to approve resolution amending.
I'll second that motion.
Would you have them exit?
Guys, we're gonna hang out for just a minute while everybody leaves.
George, am I on?
You are.
All right, thank you.
Well, I don't know who the gentleman was who spoke, who said he grew up on Washington Avenue. Can anybody hear me? Who was the gentleman that who said he grew up on Washington?
Yes, bye. You too. Bye, Tim.
Okay, we have a motion to Justice to amend certain terms of the bond risk for the wastewater system. Do we have a second?
I'll second that motion.
Okay, clerk call the roll.
Trustee Gray?
Yes.
Trustee Cook?
Yes.
Trustee Solotra?
Yes.
Trustee Rizzo?
Yes.
Mayor Gifford?
Yeah. Item number 7, we have a resolution to authorize the mayor to sign a proposal with Empire Engineering PLC, professional services associated with community water system emergency response plan.
Who's mic is on right now?
I move the motion.
Turn their volume on.
I'll second.
Very good.
Maria, is your microphone on?
I have a earphone on.
Okay. So who's got their microphone on outside of Maria?
Not me.
Do you have yours on, Tom?
No.
What about that one?
We can actually probably turn that one off right now.
Turning off. Is your camera on there? That microphone on there?
Yeah, I don't know. I just turned it the other way, so maybe it's not. Is it doing it now? I'm sorry.
We had a motion and a second.
Yes.
I don't think we had either one for number 7. We passed number 6 already.
We, Trustee Rizzo had made a motion. Trustee Gray seconded number 7.
Okay.
Trustee Gray?
Yes.
Trustee Cook?
Yes.
Trustee Solotra?
Yes.
Trustee Rizzo?
Yes.
Mayor Gifford?
Item number 8. We have a resolution to authorize the mayor to sign the renewal with the volunteer firefighter cancer coverage effective January 1st.
Absolutely. I'd like to make a motion to authorize the mayor to sign the renewal of the
I'll
volunteer
second that motion.
coverage effective January 1.
Do a second?
I'll second.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Item number 9.
We lost all volume.
Yep.
Yeah.
They lost the volume.
We
I
got
will
it.
make a motion to authorize the mayor.
We're just looking at the ceiling right now.
to sign the contract with County Waste and Recycling Dumpster.
I'll second.
Favor?
Aye.
Right. Item number 10, Halloween celebration. The Halloween this year will be same as usual from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. People are be on the office by 8 p.m. The fire department will not be doing cider item delivery. Puts people too close together. The trick-or-treaters will be allowed, they should be encouraged to wear effective cloth masks in addition to or rather than the Halloween costume masks that aren't necessarily effective. If you do not want trick-or-treaters on your porch, don't buy any candy, don't turn your light on. Otherwise, we hope to be back with cider abundance next year.
Tom, are we gonna post this on our website and make sure?
I don't remember 11
Trustee Rizzo is speaking. He asked a question.
I'm sorry, Joe.
Are we gonna post this on our website and on Scotia Events website also, so the public knows?
There was an email that I saw.
It's also been posted on our website.
Okay. I just want to make sure it's out there so people know about it.
Okay, so item 11, Lynn wanted a report on the facilities committee. We finished up with the facilities committee meeting. It took much longer than I had hoped, but the committee did a fabulous job sitting down from 26 to 2. We have a little more work to do before we can bring that up to the public. There are architects are studying the site we chose right now to see how they would, what they can do for layout, what they can do for cost. So as soon as we get that back, we're going to have a series of public meetings and tell people the process, the results, everything anybody wants to know. So we're very pleased with the way the committee went. The committee has been fabulous, and we will probably be out in a couple weeks. We have no chance of doing anything until spring at this point in terms of building, but we hope to be, if the voters are willing, we hope to be ready pretty early in the spring to be able to go ahead. George, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I think the facilities committee did a great job. It was good to be part of it and see that we were actually out of it for the majority of the discussion. They reached out independently to the traffic safety committee. They reached out independently to the planning board. They reached out independently to the fire chief to get responses on, firematic response, traffic support, and relationships to the community. Like the mayor said, there was 26. I thought there was 4 total that made the cut, 4 locations total. It sounds like there was 2 more that got whittled down to 2. So very important to note that it wasn't the village making the decision. It was an independent committee. I actually sit on the planning board. I sit as liaison to the planning board and the traffic safety committee. And I made sure to leave myself out of those discussions as well for when they put their choices and their representations forward to the committee. It was just the mayor and I were there just to kind of capture data collate it and put it in one place so that they could do their duty, which they volunteered for to do. So it's important to note that the committee worked independently with assistance from us. So I was glad to be part of it and glad to be able to say to the public that that's the representation. So
I do hope we can bring that up at the work session since the other trustees don't have that knowledge yet.
hang on, Heather was speaking. Heather, yes, at the last work session, Heather, we brought that up and we discussed about the same thing that I just said.
No, we didn't discuss the actual locations. Those were not disclosed to the rest of the board. So now that it's down to 2, I'm hoping that the remainder of the board will have that opportunity to know that.
Okay.
Hear from the architect there, and we have to go back and punt. I don't want to be there.
Heather, did you just hear his response?
No, I didn't hear.
Okay.
Are you muted now?
Go ahead.
Try it now.
Go ahead.
Muted the whole time. I'm talking into here.
That's off.
Oh. Okay. Says I'm muted.
Okay, you should unmute.
Yeah, Justin's muted.
So where do we go?
There you go. You're on. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because I didn't.
wanted to
I like to be
commend all the
updated on this whole
village-
process too.
Go ahead, Joe.
I beg your pardon. Anybody hear me, or am I talking to?
Can you repeat that, Joe?
I would like to be updated on this process too. I mean, we should all be updated on it, and it just seems like we're not communicating a little bit. So I presume let's get communications a little better.
Guys, basically nothing's happened yet. So we will.
There has been no decision made.
There has been no decision made, and nothing has happened. So as soon as it's ready, you guys will be the first to hear. I promise.
And being here,
I'm going to put my mic on and my video for this. And being here would be a great way to be more involved and communicate better.
Well, we
For
are
the
on
record.
Zoom, some of us.
Yep,
And I do
understood.
think that's,
Okay, so
there's a lot of government officials that
the
are
other
on
item I
Zoom.
wanted to address was the this.
I mean, if he wants me to be there, I'll be there. I mean, just because I'm talking on Zoom doesn't mean like I don't care. So
So
I don't think anybody's saying that you don't care, but it's hard to get the technology together with multiple sources. Some of them are mine, some of them are Justin's, some of them are Tom's. We don't have a formal technology that's making this easy to do. So it would be a lot easier if we all are here.
Well, I would like to speak to that because I would like to see some changes made to make sure there's protection. I don't think this follows protocol with the current arrangement, so I'm not comfortable sitting up there. So I would like
Understood.
some changes made prior to the board resuming.
But you're not sitting there now.
No,
Yeah. And, you know, there's plenty of space here, so.
obviously I'm not. Trustee Solochuk.
So this is getting away from us here, guys.
well, let's try to get
Commend
something
the village
done.
departments for
because
the work on the storm. The fire department ran all over town with the police department right there with us. We helped a lot of people. It was really impressive. I mean, the storm was impressive to begin with. There was a lot of damage, and there were something between 35 and 40 calls that the fire department handled. I'm sure the police were about the same. And since then, DPW has been working
around the clock basically to pick up, and they're just amazing. They've got almost everything done. The village is looking great. The power is back on, as far as I know. Some areas were hit harder than others, but everybody in the village just did a fabulous job, and I'm really proud of everybody. Item number 12, the correspondence liaison and special committee reports. Joe?
Okay, we had a meeting last night about Holiday on the Avenue. We are going to follow the same route the fire department does. We're going to have a small parade that goes through the village. First National Bank of Scotia is going to participate. All our departments are going to participate. The village is all going to be decorated. We're going to be doing the green, the poles, or putting the bows on. The bid is putting their decorations up also. We're going to have another meeting on it, and we're getting some letters in to see how many more people will participate in the parade. We're going to use basically the same route as the fire department did with their cider and donut thing. So we're going to be driving around the village, and we're not going to have crowds, and we're just going to be driving around and getting everybody in a holiday spirit. I too would like to thank the fire department and all the other departments, police, DPW, and the parks departments for doing such a great job of getting the village back into shape. I know I spoke to a lot of people in my neighborhood that were very thankful that we do have what we have in the village, and how good they did it and how fast they did it. On some of the problems they had, they couldn't do it because the wires were down, but basically got the village up and running in a short time for the amount of damage. So we do want to say thank you for everybody for all their hard work. That's all I have.
Thank you. Heather?
Yes, thank you. Report from the clerk's office. I love the window that the DPW installed. It's great access to walk up customers of the village to pay their water bill, the tax bill. On that note, the water bills did go out. We do still have the portal. You can come in as well. There's one person at a time into the lobby. We are not taking appointments. Same hours, 9 to 5. With regards to that as well, we also have the drop box, and you can always mail the bills in as well. Any issues, you can contact the clerk's office. Again, I want to just give Andrew a shout out. I think just the window, it's a village touch, and I love the window. It's easy access for our villagers. I also want to thank the fire department, the DPW, police department, parks. This storm has caused a lot of havoc in a lot of areas, and the village, I can commend them every time that there is such a storms, especially back to back in the past, and they've done a great job. So I want to thank you all for doing a great job. With regards to the police department, the chief and I did speak. We're still in the process of going forward on some grant work. We do have the grant that just came in for $5,400. We'll submit that, and I believe we will be getting paid back on that. That's the police traffic safety grant. We also have the traffic safety initiatives going on too. And the police are out. They're doing a great job. Thank you for all your efforts. The town of Glenville, I did see something with regards to the business, a new website that would benefit the Scotia businesses. More of that to come to be. I'm thinking maybe on our website we can institute something similar, or a possible link to the businesses of Scotia Glenville. Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you, Heather.
Thank
Justin?
you.
Yeah, so first and foremost, we'll start with DPW. I think they're certainly the unsung heroes of the last week. It's been a perfect storm, sorry for the pun, bad pun, where they were doing hydrant flushing, had a really bad storm, and on top of this, the leaves are falling, and yard waste is just a big thing as well. So I want to commend Andrew and his team for keeping everything going. The hydrant flushing will continue through this month from around 7 to 3:30. So villagers should be aware that they might experience discolored water. I refer them to the website for specifics and information on that. I do also want to say the storm damage response has been impeccable. I was actually surprised. I had a tree fall in my yard as well as several of my neighbors, and literally from the time we put it out, within 10 minutes it was gone. And I see the guys driving around and the ladies driving around, picking up all the fallen branches, and Kathy staffing the phones over there at DPW, I'm sure taking a lot of time and a lot of attention. So thank you for that. It gets an A++. One thing I will say, loose leaf pickup with everything that's going on will most likely not be starting until after the hydrant flushing. So as in previous years, villagers can bring their loose leaf yard waste to the corner, making sure that there's no other garbage that's not combustible, leaves, and making sure that that's not included at the curb. Also, another big project going on from DPW, paving of Alexander. After all the work done by National Grid, I want to commend again Andrew on working out a cost-sharing agreement with National Grid to make that project work within a very, very reasonable amount to make sure that that street just doesn't get patched, but it gets fixed and lasts. From zoning Board of Appeals, we'll have our first meeting since I've been the liaison there on October 26th. It will be held on Zoom. Information about that will be posted to the village website. There is one item being considered by the Zoning Board of Appeals at that meeting. Similarly, the BID will host their first meeting since the pandemic, and since all the businesses were closed. It'll be in person at the Turf Tavern on October 20th at 8 a.m. At the Turf. All social distancing guidelines will be in place. Mask wearing is a must. With that said, right now, I commend all the Scotia Glenville businesses for hanging on, specifically the businesses here in the village. I find it amazing that businesses like Scotia Music Academy, Bella Pranzo, as well as even Orlando School of Dance, which moved to the village just before the pandemic hit. And the other two businesses I mentioned opening up during the pandemic have been doing really well, considering the facts, and they've been adapting to the change. I want to put a special call out to Scotia Cinema. They are right now really the only business that is not able to open up. So I want to encourage all villagers to find a way to either buy some popcorn and have a movie at home, perhaps buy one of their t-shirts, or find ways to support Scotia Cinema through this pandemic until they're able to safely open. Mayor, that is all I have.
Thank you. George?
I definitely want to say thanks to DPW, Fire Department, and Police Department for the response to the storm. Just to kind of mirror what Justin said about the DPW, even though there was the storm and the crisis and the swift response to that, their focus is on maintaining the things they had in progress. So definitely applaud them for that. Like the mayor said, we worked on the facilities project and got to sort of a milestone. There still is more to do. We had a planning board meeting where there still is things coming in. There's development going on at the corner of 50 and 5 that should be clearing towards the end of the first quarter. There are some good communications installations that are being worked on with the wireless infrastructure, and as you see, the solar plant on the corner of Washington and Shawnee is definitely moving along, and they had an announcement in the, on the social media today about participating in the savings that the solar plant on the in the village can provide. So if you we will be looking to get that out there as well. And that's about it. Thanks.
Thank you, George.
Oh, wait, sorry, one more thing. I do look forward to hearing more from the Special Events Committee about the plans for Holiday on Avenue. And it was sad to hear that cider and donuts by the fire department was forced to not be put on this year. So I appreciate, looking forward to hearing more about the special events.
Yeah, we'll keep you informed, George.
Thank you. Departmental reports. So can we?
I'd like to make a motion to accept the department reports as provided.
No,
yeah, I'd like to second that too. Heather got it first.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Item 14. Can we have a motion to make the budget adjustments for September?
I'll make a motion for the budget adjustments for the month of September.
I'll second.
Heather seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item 15. Can we have a motion to pay our bills?
I'd like to make a motion to pay our bills.
I'll second.
Clerk call the roll.
Trustee Gray?
Yes.
Trustee Cook?
Yes.
Trustee
Yes.
Rizzo?
Yes.
Mayor Gifford?
Yes. Item 16, can we have a motion to approve the minutes of September 9th regular meeting?
I'll make the motion to approve the minutes of the September 9, 2020 Village Board of Trustees regular meeting.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Can we have a motion to approve the minutes of the September 9th special meeting?
I'll move it.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 We have a motion to approve the minutes of the September 21st special meeting.
I'll make the motion to approve the minutes of the September 21st, 2020 Village Board of Trustees special meeting.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We have a motion to approve the minutes of the October 6th special meeting.
I'll make the motion to approve the minutes of the October 6, 2020 Village Board of Trustees special meeting.
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Item number 20. Does anybody have any new business?
Just got a reminder that the fire department is having a live drill burn on Sunday, October the 18th. And we welcome all the board members if they want to participate and watch how they do things. It is at the Saratoga County Training Tower, and I believe it's between the hours of 8 to 1.
Thank you. Anybody have any new business? Can we have a motion to adjourn?
So be it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Good night,
Heather.